I'm about to make eggs in a hole. Now, this recipe, I find it very interesting for two major reasons. One, it's about as simple as a recipe gets. You put some eggs in on a piece of bread with a hole in the middle. But for whatever reason, I find it tastier than it should be based on the fact that it's just an egg and bread hole. Like, it's just like, it's so easy, and it's not unique. It's not special. It's the same ingredients, and yet for some reason I find it oddly super satisfying. And just, I'll never understand it. All I know is it's true. But there's a second reason that I find this breakfast so intriguing, and it's because I think it has more names than any other breakfast I've ever heard of. This is what I mean. Egg in a hole, that's what I call it. Egg in the basket, egg in a frame. Okay, those make some sense. Toad in a hole. Don't see a toad, but I can get the idea. Hole in one. Bullseye eggs, gas house eggs, gassed house eggs, one-eyed Jack, one-eyed Pete, pirate's eye, or Popeye. All of these are apparently names. Do you know additional names for the egg in a hole? I'd love to hear which ones you've heard of. These are the ones I've heard of, and some that I have not. But these are all legitimate names for what, to me, is one of the simplest breakfasts. So why would this breakfast so simple, one, be so darn satisfying, and two, have so many names? Anyway, I'm going to make them. The Wheel of Food told me to get a jalapeno cheese bread, and I saw these rolls. So I thought that could be a fun way to do it. And I thought I could actually just cut the hole here, but that is way too much bread for me on a bread to egg. So instead, I'm going to cut this guy in half. And then I'm going to make two egg in a hole. So this is nice and flat. I'll make that my downside where I start. I'll put my hole here. On this guy, like this side for the bottom, so I'm going to cut my hole here. So I'm going to cut a hole here and here. Now, how big do you make this hole? I've made it to where it's like this big, right? The majority of the bread is whole. And what I've learned is the smaller I make the hole, the better it seems to work out for me. So my trick is to use a shot glass. Shot glasses come in many shapes and sizes. This is the one I use the most for my tequila. But this guy here has a slightly bigger mouth. And so to me, this is kind of perfect. And he's also got feet, so how can I go wrong? So I'm going to take this guy, and I'm going to make myself my hole. Now, you're going to eat this piece too, so there we go. Look at that, okay? So I know this seems like a really small hole, and honestly, even right now, it's been a long time since I made an egg in a hole. I'm like, is that really the right size? But I remember distinctly that the shot glass size was perfect for me. Now, can you get through this little top crust? Oh, yes, you can. All righty. So there we go. I got my holes ready for my eggs. All right, I got my pan going. My butter's melted. I'm going to take the first one. Remember, you want your flatter side on the pan so that the egg doesn't escape from underneath as easily. It still kind of often does, but this side you can see is a little taller there, so I think that's my best bet. Now, in go my eggs. So you can see a little bit's coming out down there on the bottom. That usually happens, not the end of the world. In goes the second one. And I'm tilting the pan a little bit to kind of let it cook into the bread as much as possible. But there you go. That's the start. I'm going to hit with a little salt and pepper before I flip it. Now, if anything's going to go wrong with this recipe, it's on the flip. So I also noticed I put in my tops, so you can flip the tops over and get them all nice and buttery and toasty. Little appetizer. Okay. There we go. I feel like maybe I should put a little more butter in there. I'm going to put a little extra butter in. Help me along. Alrighty. Wish me luck. I'm always worried when I'm on, when I'm doing it on my own, I never really even worry. I just go for it. But I kind of want to get it right when you guys are watching. Okay. So check it out. The egg spread out. So the whole egg is now coated on the bottom of the bread, and the yolk is in that tiny little hole. I think this is why the shot glass works so nicely, is that I get this beautiful spread underneath, but I get the yolk kind of perfectly in the middle. Now, I don't want to cook those too much, so I'm going to take them off the heat right now. All right. Flipping them back over. Boom. They went a little longer than normal just because I was getting mostly because I was filming and I didn't have my plate ready yet, so I had to get a plate real quick. But there you go. These little gutums here on the bottom, that's just flavor for me. I love all that stuff, so I'm gonna add that to the pan, as well as my little tops. And that's all there is to an egg in a hole. So when you're not distracted by a video camera, it's even easier. Time to eat. When done perfectly, they should have a nice runny yolk. And you can see I took a little far. Again, it's still, oh, it's going to be nice and liquidy, more than I thought, I think. Look at that. But yeah, it only needs like 20 seconds on the yolk side to become perfect. With this jalapeno cheddar bread, I think I'm onto something really exciting. So thank you, Wheel of Food, for this. Let's see how. So first, one of the tops. Oh my God, they're so good. It's ridiculous. I don't know, because it's small. They have this perfect little puff. A little bit of butter baked into there. This is the even better piece. I saved that for last. I don't understand how yummy, why it's so yummy. It's just buttery bread, but oh, I like it so much. A little bit of that egg I scraped up. All right. Now, oops. Now, onto the egg itself. And this is probably going to run a little bit. I didn't bring a knife. Let's see if a fork. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I still went a little longer than I wanted to, but I got a little runny action there. So that's exciting. And then you just eat this piece right here. So got some runny yolk. I don't get it. I eat egg and cheese sandwiches all the time. And this is just not the same thing. I get it's egg and bread. It's like an egg and cheese sandwich without the cheese. It's even worse. But what I can tell you is there's a crunchiness and a lightness and an airiness. And my egg and cheese sandwiches, I usually don't make them runny because then they'll run down my face when I bite into them. I'll never understand why the egg in a hole is such a treat for me, but it is. And now I'm going to finish up. I hope you guys try an egg in a hole. Let me know. Am I out of my rocker, or do some of you guys agree with this idea that it's that great? And I just have to add, and as much as I like these egg in a holes, doing it with this cheddar jalapeno bun, I had not done that before. I've never used a bun and cut it in half like that. It's, oh my God, the jalapeno is so hot. The cheese is so perfect. So it is like I've gotten cheese in my egg in a hole. Like I never put cheese on my egg in a hole, but the bread bought the cheese. Thank you, bread, for bringing the cheese. So. Anyway, you can just use a regular piece of bread. As you can see, the shot glass works nicely for me. Can't wait to hear your stories. My eggs in a hole are now eggs in a hole in my belly. But I just was thinking about it some more. I think what it is that's so unusual is the whites cook into the bread from below, and it creates a crunch that is different than any other kind of egg and cheese sandwich I've ever had. And that's, I think, what makes it so unique. And again, there's no cheese normally other than my special bread today. But that texture of that egg white cooking into the bottom of the bread, I think that's what makes it such an incredibly pleasant experience. There's a saltiness in that egg, in the white, and a crunchiness, and then the doughiness of the bread. It is unusual. And anyway, I'm still looking forward to your comments after you eat some yourself, or if you already have.